A very good afternoon for all of you who have come this afternoon. We would like to warmly appreciate you guys for attending this event. Every person who attends this event, we would appreciate if you could also post on your social media whatever content you could. And also it would be important if you could also geotag, basically put the location as Sri Lanka, because Meta obviously gathers all the data where the information is coming from. Any bit of information that we are showing in support of Gaza for matters. So please post as much as you can on your Instagram, on your Facebook, send it to your WhatsApp groups. The more you populate the internet, the more you spread the word, the more they're making an impact. And however small you might think it is, it just matters. Every little bit matters at this point. So to begin the afternoon, I would like to call upon one of our members of the Sri Lanka Palestine movement, Tracy Holsinger, for the welcome speech.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being here with us today. On behalf of the Free Palestine movement of Sri Lanka, it is my privilege to welcome you this afternoon and to thank all the activists who have worked really hard today to make this happen. We are here to commemorate the 76th anniversary of the 1948 Nakba. We will be telling you all about that as the program continues for the afternoon. And I've been wondering what to say to you as part of a welcome address, and then my mind kind of drifted to a conversation I was having with a few of my fellow activists a couple of days ago. And one of them was talking about this post on social media. And it's a photograph of the Met Gala, which, as you know, is fashion's biggest event. And right next to it, someone had posted a picture of children dying in Palestine. And there was a lot of uproar saying, my goodness, how can you do this? How can you post something so frivolous next to something just so heartbreaking? And then I was told that there was another comment saying, actually, this is the reality we are facing today. It's something like the Hunger Games, where there is a culling of the innocent, of the helpless, by those in positions of power. And really, that is our reality today. We are witnessing the most terrible, terrible events of our lifetimes, of us all here today. I don't think we have ever seen another instance of genocide and apartheid that has been sanctioned by those in power, which gives lie to the fact actually that, you know, these ideals of international criminal courts, international courts of justice, resolutions being passed, really what has happened? Has it changed in any way? And what is our duty as people, as citizens of Sri Lanka? I know as citizens of Sri Lanka we find many parallels to what has happened in our own country with what the people of Palestine are facing. And so, as Krishna said a little while earlier, I urge you to post. We, our group, urges you to post, urges you to keep talking, because as we speak out and as we continue to speak out, we are, of course, in the presence of those around the world who are starting to speak up. And through that movement, we are making some advances, we are making some change, and so the only way is forward. And to keep doing it and to even put pressure, urge our own government to do what is right, to not sanction economic trade, amongst other things. If we take a stand and if we make our voices heard, slowly but surely, there is a revolution that will come. And I just wanted to leave you with that thought, that no matter how small your action is, it is joining a group of growing voices who are expressing dissent. So on that note, before we go much further, I'd just like you to join me in observing 2 moments of silence, 2 minutes of silence rather, and to join me in a reflection as we think today about what is happening in Palestine. Thank you. We're going to start our program this afternoon with a video about the 1948 Nakba, and this will be followed by poetic reflections from Serena Burgess.
The Nakba is commemorated on May 15th of every year, and it refers to the near-total destruction of Palestinian society at the hands of Zionist militias upon the establishment of Israel. But the Nakba is not a tragic relic from the past. Rather, it is a planned, organized, and most importantly, an ongoing process of ethnic cleansing. It's argued that the Nakba officially started with the issuing of the 1917 Balfour Declaration, through which the British government committed to the establishment in Palestine of a national home for the Jewish people, as if Palestine was the property of the Brits in the first place. Then, in 1920, the British colonization of Palestine began. With it came a brutal crackdown on any anti-colonial organizing or national sentiment. With the help of the Brits, the Jewish population in Palestine increased from 9% to almost 27%. And after 27 years of colonial rule, the British government announced it would be handing over Palestine to the United Nations. The UN in turn recommended dividing Palestine into Jewish and Arab states in 1947, allocating 55% of Palestine to the Jews, including cities with Palestinian majorities and important coastlines. Naturally, Palestinians rejected this ridiculous plan, as the proposed Arab state would mean they'd lose key agricultural lands and seaports, not to mention their homeland. Shortly after this, the fighting broke out between Palestinians and Zionist armed groups, who had gained training and arms from fighting with Britain in World War II. The Zionist forces waged a brutal campaign of ethnic cleansing. Over 750,000 Palestinians were forcibly expelled from their lands and rendered refugees outside of the borders of their own homeland. The Zionist forces had seized over 78% of historic Palestine, destroying and depopulating 530 villages and cities and committing over 70 massacres. The British officially ended their rule in Palestine on May 14, 1948, and left their artillery and tanks for the new Zionist regime to use. Since then, the Nakba became firmly established as a systemic practice that continues to be implemented by the Israeli state to this day. But to understand the Nakba, one must understand Zionism, the political ideology born in 19th century Europe that argued that the creation of a Jewish state would be the only viable solution for the persecution of Jews around the world. But that salvation within itself necessitated the ethnic cleansing, the expulsion of an entire population. And the Palestinians, who have lived under Zionist rule for the past 75 years, define it as such, an ideology of dispossession, an expansionist and racist settler colonial enterprise. And on multiple occasions, the early leaders and pioneers of the Zionist movement did not shy away from this framing. But Zionism is best defined by its material manifestations, and the Nakba is the clearest crystallization of the Zionist ideology. And the Nakba is far from over. The Zionist movement did not stop eating away at Palestinian land in 1948. In fact, in 1967, the Israeli regime occupied the West Bank, the Gaza Strip, and the eastern part of Jerusalem, forcibly expelling 430,000 Palestinians, half of which had already originally been dispossessed from their homes in 1948. Today, millions of Palestinians continue to live in fear of home demolitions and arbitrary arrests. Their towns are encircled by Jewish-only colonies and military outposts. Millions of Palestinians live without access to basic rights, be it in the West Bank, where they are immobilized by the apartheid wall, or in the open-air prison that is the besieged Gaza Strip. As for Palestinians that hold Israeli citizenship, they live under the rule of a regime with dozens and dozens of laws that discriminate against them as non-Jews. There's even a law that prohibits commemorating the Nakba. Today, there are nearly 6 million Palestinian refugees around the world, and with the mass force expulsions of Palestinians in places like the Nakba, Sheikh Jarrah, Silwan, Hebron, and elsewhere, the number of internally displaced persons increases every year. At a certain point in every Palestinian's life, we recognize that the Nakba is far from over. If you're not expelled from your home, it's demolished. If you're not imprisoned, you're shot in the street. If you're not shot, there's a drone in your sky in the Gaza Strip. If it's not a bomb, it's exile. But just as the Nakba continues, Palestinian resistance against it has not stopped a single day.
And can we have Serena Burgess up on stage now for a short poem on confessions? If there's anybody outside, please invite you to come and take a seat inside, please. Hi, my name is Serena. I wrote this piece, it's not really it's just a stream of consciousness, and I wrote it about 2 or 3 months ago, really with Palestine in mind, but also with the general collapse of the systems that we're witnessing in the world at the moment. So it's called The Awakening of Humanity. We felt this time coming, a schism and a shedding, a breaking necessary to reveal the illusion we have lived with for so long. The illusion that all is well in a system of profit over people. All is well in the institutions that have placed performance over democracy, whilst imposing tyranny over all of us. The cracks are exposing the shadows, our deeply corrupt systems and our greatest personal fears. Exposing them so that we can begin opposing them. Opening space for the greatest shift in consciousness humans have ever known. We are being asked to go deeper than ever before, to reflect and to question our beliefs. To come through this fire, alchemized, to make the monumental changes that are vital for the world. These turbulent times were expected. They are hard and painful. It feels like we are being broken open, but perhaps we are being put back together. The numbness we relied on to be able to function in this dysfunctional world is gone. The very real pain replacing it will set us free, will make us love more fiercely, fight more compassionately, endure with greater fortitude. This is not just a battle for our physical freedom, for our right to speak and act and think. It's a spiritual battle,
a battle for the soul of humanity. As the collective consciousness coalesces, we align under a banner of love, first finding strength in our numbers and comfort in our fellow humans. We come together when they would keep us divided, choose action over fear, and finally unite to defy this darkness. And why do we do it? For a world in which we tell our grandchildren the story of today, and because their lives are so connected and whole and peaceful, their jaws drop in disbelief at what we lived through. The oppression we struggled against, and the high and devastating cost of the victory of the awakening of humanity.
Hi everyone, I am the son of Serena, and I have written a poem. It's called Ceasefire to Gaza. I wrote it about the same time when my mom wrote her words, what she just said. And it is, the houses burn, buildings shatter, children yearn, parents scatter. Communities die, bombs fly, soldiers go by, no one says hi. People think, will I die in the blink of an eye? Will the world stand by, watch us all die, or stand up for Palestinian lives? There will be a ceasefire. We say Israel are the liars. The world sees you, you're shouting loud. We demand a ceasefire now.
Thank you very much. That was absolutely beautiful. Up next, we have an Islamic spiritual rendition by the Muslim Choral Ensemble. And once again, I would like to thank each and every one of you who has come this afternoon. Your attendance means much, not just to us, but for the people of Gaza. And as I mentioned earlier, please do post on your socials and don't forget to geotag Sri Lanka, because it is important that the message goes out that Sri Lanka stands in solidarity with the people of Gaza.
sallallahu ala Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, sallallahu ala Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, sallallahu ala Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, sallallahu ala Muhammad, ya Rabbi salli alayhi wa sallim.
This poem is a tribute to the people of Gaza who's endured inexplicable suffering. If Gaza were a cloth, you could squeeze it till it spills blood that would thicken the seas. Or you could hear the haunting cries of the innocents. It can be heard as it echoes through the scarred, blood-soaked ground. There are children crying in agony, but now, no sound. What do children usually do? What do they do? Children only play and jump and laugh and run, but there is no sound. It is but a land engulfed in endless woe, where a father loses his strength, where mothers stopped weeping, where babies stopped crying, where children stopped running, as they lie cold and still, bleeding into the earth, just not breathing. So if Gaza were a cloth, you could squeeze it till it spills the blood of the justified injustice. What a pity. Brutally massacred, childhood stolen dreams, burnt away, no notice. What can be done? Oh, what can be done? Save Palestine. Save humanity. Thank you.
Muhammad Nabina binur hadina min Makkah bidinu sata al-Madina min salatu idal shifatu ya mahdil tiluma shifanu mamatu salli ala Muhammad assalamu alayka ya Rasulullah assalamu alayka ya habibi ya nabi Allah assalamu alayka ya Rasulullah assalamu alayka ya habibi ya nabi Allah ya Rasulullah salli ala nabi with tabassum with tabassum with tabassum with tabassum Allahumma salli alayhi qalbil mutayyib kullama sallam مست عيادي وكف المصطفى كالورد نادي وإثرها يبقى إذا مست عيادي وأما نوالها كل العباد وأما نوالها كل العباد وأما نوالها كل العباد حبيب الله يا خير البراء يا قمرون قمرون قمر سيدنا النبي قمرون وجميل 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 سيدنا النبي وجميل قمرون قمرون قمر سيدنا النبي قمرون وجميل 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 سيدنا النبي وجميل.
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, the Buddhist perspective by the Thero, Katirave Sudarsana Thero from Canada could not join us this afternoon. So we will be moving on to the next event, which is a dramatized book launch. And after the book launch, we will have a panel discussion with the author. And whilst we wait for the crew to get ready, as Tracy touched on this earlier, what's important here is, and I think most of you who are in attendance right now would know, is the reason why we as Sri Lankans must show our solidarity to Gaza is because we as a country went through the same thing. And most of you know what happened to Sri Lanka during the latter stages of the war. So it is pretty much identical what the people of Rafah are experiencing right now. It's what Sri Lanka experienced. We had our own genocide. So if we as Sri Lankans, it is imperative that we show solidarity to the people of Gaza.
While the cast is setting up, just a little bit about what you're about to see. This is actually to launch a book that is available free of charge behind you. It's called The Little Olive Park. It's written by Ruanthi Dishikera, and the production you see here today is a collaboration between Ruanthi's Stages Theatre Group and my company, which is called Mandi Creatives.
It ran full of olive plants. Many children of different families played in this small park. It was one of the oldest, most beloved parks in the whole neighborhood. It had an ancient, very special merry-go-round that children of many generations had enjoyed. Throughout history, children from different families played together, fought, made up, but tended to the olive plants in this little park. Time had taught them ways of playing, praying, and living together. Then one day, a lady with a cheerful child came to the park.
I recognize that lady from the big park. Hey! Nearby.
The big park
Hey!
is over there. It's about 300 times bigger than our little olive park. Please, may I leave this little boy here? He's been moving very badly in our park. I think it's best he moves here.
Why can't you stop pulling at your park?
The lady did what adults often do. She didn't answer the question.
His granny and grandpa used to play in this park. They used to ride the merry-go-round. I think it's best he stays here.
Our grandparents stay here too.
So you understand? Fantastic. Now, move please. Please move.
The children thought the lady, though she said please a lot, was quite possible and behaved like she owned their park. But they did feel sorry for the kind boy. Everyone had heard of the terrible bullying that had happened over at the lady's big park. But more than anything, they were used to sharing the little olive park.
You can stay with us.
They said, and shared their olives with him. However, some of them felt a little uncomfortable when the lady came back with an armload of toys for the boy. The toys were bigger than any the children of the olive park had ever seen before.
These are toys from our park. This little boy is very special to us, so please, treat him well.
With that, she scuttles away, looking relieved. With all these presents around him, this little boy now took up more space than any other child in the olive park. The children stared at him. The polite bossiness of the lady had made them somewhat uneasy. However, children don't hold on to uneasiness for too long. Though the park was tiny, there was room enough for everyone. They returned to their games and their plants.
Then another lady turned up with a crying girl. This lady was tall, wore a bigger smile, and had a louder voice. She was from the biggest and newest park. Quite some distance away. The biggest and newest park was 500 times bigger than the little olive park. It was so big that it was almost completely empty.
Hello, children from the little olive park. This little girl was on her way to our biggest and newest park. Because she was being bullied so badly in our big park. But I think it's best she
With that, she strides away, looking brilliant. The children of the olive park stared at the boy and girl surrounded by their toys and sweets. They didn't seem to want to play with anyone, so the other children returned to their games. But everyone, including the new boy and new girl, played on the beautiful oval merry-go-round. After a while, more ladies started turning up with more new children and more new toys. Most of these ladies were parents of bullies in the big park. They themselves had been bullies when they were children. Now they apologized a lot and promised the children they brought over that they would not be bullied again.
Sorry, you will not be bullied again.
This went on for a while. Each new child came with more big toys and more fresh warnings from smiling adults to the other children to treat the new arrivals well.
Treat the new arrivals well.
The children in the olive park began to feel a bit angry.
They are feeling a bit angry.
With the new children and their big toys taking up so much space, there really was very little room left for them. Their playground was shrinking fast. Their olive plants were being crushed.
Crushed!
My time!
Boys! We've been angry. Boys! Angry!
My time!
Boys!
The new arrivals
We've
well.
been angry!
This is our park! With their big toys, they chased many of the children out of the park. They then pushed the remaining ones into two corners and put up a sign, Big Toy Park. In the middle. They stood around it with their big toys and said the little olive park was now theirs.
It's ours.
The children of the little olive park were shocked.
He's shocked! Doesn't that mean the park belongs to everyone, including the new children?
Why are these children behaving so badly?
Furious, some of them threw stones at the children with the big toys. The noise of the fighting brought the ladies running to the little park. As soon as the adults arrived, the children stopped fighting and looked to them. Adults saw the children with big toys standing in the middle, saw their long olive tree children pushed to the two corners of the park, and saw the large number of children now standing outside the park.
What is happening here? It's our park. We want this park.
We don't like them. Chase them away.
This is our park as well!
Said the other children, shocked. They looked to the ladies who had brought the children here. Surely they would put this right.
Of course, this is your park. Your grandparents used to play here. We warned you about pulling these poor children. Police!
Get out of our park, police!
You said you would look after us.
You said you would never be bullied again.
There's only one way to solve this. You cannot play together nicely. You will have to divide the park.
With that, the ladies took a stick and drew lines right down the little olive park, turning the flaming torch into a cutting block. The children with the big toys would not budge from where they stood, so the largest part went to them. The olive tree children were pushed to the two corners of the park, the area by the park pond and the tiny sand pit.
Happy now?
No!
We want our park back.
No, this is our park.
The ladies looked nervously at the faces of the angry children and moved away to confer in whispers.
When we brought these children here, we asked you to be nice to them. We explained to you that they had been treated very badly.
In your park.
And we warned you that if you were not nice to them, we would punish you. All they wanted was to share the park.
But they don't want to share the park.
Yes, we don't want to share the park.
It's our park. Darlings, leave it to us.
Then, very quickly, they put up two signs saying Big Toy Park Woo! And Little Olive Park.
What about the merry-go-round? It's on that side of the park.
We want the merry-go-round. Give us the merry-go-round.
Yes, yes, you must all play on the merry-go-round. But we can't, they will hit us.
The ladies looked anxiously at the angry faces of the children before them and immediately handed the children with the big toys a sack of even bigger toys. Toys that could hurt the other children.
There, now no one will hurt you.
And with that, they left for their much bigger parks, looking extremely relieved.
The days, weeks, and months that followed were tender in the little olive park. Fights broke out between the children. The big children always wanted more. They pushed the olive tree children into the corners of the park and then out of the park. They kicked up a storm in the sand pits and built barriers around the merry-go-round.
Yahoo!
They forbade playing in the sand pits,
Yahoo!
singing near the merry-go-round,
Yahoo!
or praying in the fountain.
Yahoo! Yahoo! Yahoo!
The sound of the olive tree children crying and calling help was very loud. There were no adults in the meeting. Gradually, the little olive park became known for the sound of fighting, crying children. Many families that used to visit the park to ride the merry-go-round could no longer visit. The ancient and beloved little olive park was becoming the saddest place in the neighborhood.
This is our park. You need our permission to enter, to leave, to eat, to sleep, to do anything.
All the while, more and more gifts arrived for these children from the big park. Each toy came with a note, such as, use this to keep yourself safe. You will never be bullied again. Don't be afraid of those dreadful children. The children of the olive park now understood that no adult was going to help them. where he talked about fighting back, about hacking the big boy children.
It's not easy, it's not right. If we don't fight back, they will take over our whole park.
And for the children outside the park,
Well, we just want to return.
In the meantime, the big toy children visited the adults of the big park. They took drawings of the little Ollie park and demonstrated how easily it could be turned into the big toy park. The ladies nodded and clapped. The children complained that they didn't feel safe in the park and demanded bigger toys for protection. The ladies nodded and tutted. The children asked for more children like them, ready to fight and chase out the Ollie Park children. The adults nodded and clapped. Done, they said.
Done.
And so, children from the big and biggest parks were offered treats and powerful toys if they went to the Olive Park. Lots of children who enjoyed bullying Olive Tree children. Others who didn't have any treats or toys in their own parks lined up impatiently for the presents and the adventure. They were promised they could behave in the Olive Park in a way they could not behave in the big parks. They could bully, beat, and kick the Olive Tree children. They could break their toys and spit on them. And best of all, no adult could say a word. Unbelievable, but true.
This is our park.
There are no olive trees anywhere. Only big toys.
This is our park.
This is our park. This is our park. This is our park. This is our park. This is our park. This is our park. This is our park. This is our park. This is our park. This is our park. This is our park.
Bad child. Bad children hit and steal and bully and kick.
Big toy children have been bullying us, kicking us, hitting us for ages.
That's because they are scared of you. That's because you deserve it.
None of what the adults said made any sense to the Olive Park children.
This situation went on for a very long time. Very long.
A very long time. Long, very long time. Too long. So long. Long situation. One day, when everyone was sleeping, the children of the little Olive Park in the sand pits did something no one ever dared do before. They attacked the children of the big park with all their strength and might. The screams of the children in the big park brought the ladies rushing in. All around the park were broken toys, scattered food, and many of the children with big toys were bruised and crying in fright.
What is happening here?
They attacked us. They broke our toys.
They took our friends to the sand pit.
You said you will protect us. You said you'll help us.
We were bullied, and we were bullied in your parks.
Is this true?
Yes, it is. They did not want to share. We cannot live with them. We can no longer live like this.
Bad children. Horrible, terrible, bad children.
They are not children.
They are animals. Animals!
We must be destroyed. We will destroy them. And you will help us destroy them.
You will do it.
Destroy them completely. Yes. Yes, we will help you destroy them. This is the only way to solve this problem.
Can we have one more round of applause for that amazing, absolutely amazing play? Can we have the crew up back on stage again, please? Can we have everyone up on stage again, please? Pictures for the camera. Right. Where's Tracy? Tracy! Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, once again for this amazing team and directed by Tracy Holsinger. You guys are amazing. I hope everyone got the play, and I think these are the fantastic way of educating people as well as children about what is actually going on. Thank you once again. Amazing. And up next we have two members from the movement, Sri Lanka Palestine, wonderful Miss Tassie. I think some of you all probably know her. Some of you might know Tassie, but I think most of you know Tassie. And we also have Mr. Lionel joining us. He specifically told me not to tell his designation. Who will share a few words with us. Also, the book is available, it's free of charge. In the back, please do grab the book. And also I would recommend maybe place that book in places where everybody can have access to it and have a quick glance through and educate themselves, especially those who still continue to remain neutral during these dark times.
I think I'm still catching my breath after watching that drama. So, one more big round of applause, please, for that wonderful Tracy Holsinger and her beautiful family. On that note, I would really like to introduce to all of you the author of the book, who is with us here today, and the illustrator. I'd like to call Ruanti Chikera and Ryan Holsinger, please, up on stage. I want you to reflect on the message that drama conveyed. We're going to have a discussion with audience participation. But before that, let me hand over to Ruan.
Thank you very much, Tassie. I would very much like to present the first copy of this book to our dear friend, the Palestinian ambassador. So if you please come up on stage, it is my great honor to give this book to you. Ryan and I would also
This is a small gift, handmade in Bethlehem, with the fruits that we have in Palestine. We welcome it. Thank you for the day.
This book has a well-wisher printed 2,000 copies of this book. It's also available online. At the back of the auditorium, we have about 200 copies of this. Please take the book, read it, and please share it, pass it on. Because as Tracy said, as we've all been saying, every little thing that we do counts. We're a small country, we have no direct links with what's happening in Palestine, but maybe even Palestinians don't even know where Sri Lanka is, but all over the world, people like us are taking to the streets, we're writing, we're speaking out against this, because a free Palestine is not just a political goal. A free Palestine has now become a symbol of a new world order, a world that we all want to live in, a world without colonization, a world without apartheid, racism, and genocide. So please keep doing your part, as we all will. There's also an online version. There's a QR code there. You can scan it, and please let's send this out to everybody. Thank you very much.
So ladies and gentlemen, you watched 30 minutes of drama. But was it actually drama, or was it reality? That's what I want you to ponder about. What you saw on stage today, is it something that we have seen happening elsewhere? Is it something that we can all relate to? Done so magnificently by Ruanthi in the form of a children's book. But it was so powerful when they acted it up on stage. Father Nano, what are your thoughts?
I would like to call this poor thing the parable of the little park. And I think that's so important. It's a parable, and parables can speak and comment and focus and open up the events of what are unfolding. In one parable where I must say, the production, the theatre production itself was brilliant. Something that really, I think those who were part and the director, Tracy, really entered into the spirit of the parable. And as a good parable, it always ends with the question, what is next? Parables always provoke the thinking, and I think this drama and the little booklet that we received are certainly very good examples of that. And they certainly reflect that what is happening in Palestine, the Little Olive Park, is a parable that relates to all the events that are taking place in various of our countries, especially the countries of the southern hemisphere, like South Africa, like parts of Africa, like our own situation in our country here. The oppression of minorities, the taking of lands, the taking away of rights. In 1948, interestingly how close that was to the Nakba. The estate carrier laborers who were brought from South India as slaves virtually, and at least at some status, were declared stateless by the first government of Sri Lanka, Mr. D.S. They stripped their rights and made them stateless. The story that we saw depicted in the parable of the little park is a parable that is universal and reveals the ugly side of the colonial history of a lot of our countries. whether it be India, whether it be Sri Lanka, whether it be all the countries of the southern hemisphere. And you know, one thing that I had the privilege, the great privilege, of going to Palestine in 1988 when the first Intifada was taking place, with a delegation that composed of South Africans, there was an American Orthodox priest, a Presbyterian priest from England, and I was fortunate and very privileged to be part of that. And that changed my life. It changed my understanding of my religion, of my faith, and also opened my eyes. The scales fell, and I began to see the duplicity of the great powers, the great colonial powers of Britain, of the United States, and all these big countries who control the economy of the world and use all kinds of means to suppress, to distort, and to enslave, that they may continue their terrible extraction of wealth from our countries. And they do that in very subtle ways. They have their puppets, the little colonial puppet governments, or countries that they can buy. Very sadly, some of the Arab countries like Saudi Arabia and others have been bought to be silent or to be neutral or to make little clucking sounds but not really do anything effective. And our government is not far behind. They even send ships to help the Allied fleet to attack the Houthis. So we are all conniving and complicit. And I think this parable raises the big question: where do you stand? Do you stand with those children who are beaten up by the thugs, the little thuggish boys and girls? Do we resist, or do we just simply bow our heads? And my experience of meeting the Palestinians in Gaza and in the West Bank was an amazing eye-opener to me. They knew the situation. When we asked them, do you blame the Jews? They said, no. We are not anti-Jewish. In fact, we have very good relationships with the Jews. The Jews are welcome to in our country. We shared life together. We worked together. We ate together. We celebrated life together. We are fighting not only our resistance, our aragale, or our jihad, is for the liberation even of those poor Israeli Jews who have been brainwashed, who have been used by the United States and the big powers. They are trying to hoodwink. And we need to liberate them as well, because they are also. And then they were interested. Do you know that it was amazing? They knew what was happening in South Africa, which was long before the apartheid regime was overthrown. They even asked me questions. When I heard that I was from Sri Lanka, they asked me, why is there a war going on? Why are the Tamil people being attacked? They raised questions about how unfair the whole thing was. And they were actually, George Habash and his crowd were prepared to help the Tamil militant organizations to resist the power of the Sri Lankan government at the time, which was very Zionistic in its nationalistic understanding. So we have a people who, suffering as they are and as victimized as they are standing up and fighting not only for themselves but for the liberation and the emancipation and for the education of all our peoples. The Palestinians are fighting our battle as well. And I think we need to stand in total solidarity. In total solidarity. I was amazed when I spoke to them. We asked them, what kind of Palestinian state would you like to have eventually? And there were Muslims and there were Christians. They said, a secular state in which all religions are accepted, all opinions are tolerated, not only tolerated, are fostered. This is actually said by a suffering group of people who stood for justice, and their struggle is a struggle not only for the justice of the Palestinians, it is indeed, but it's much more than that. It is the battle and struggle for all of us who live in this country. and are very often brainwashed by education, by all kinds of means of control, and by the media. So I thank the writers, Buansi and Tracy and the wonderful band of dramatists for doing this, and I think it opens up for us automatically a very good area for discussion. How are we going to be in solidarity with the Palestinian people? What is the message that we want to give to our people here? And I think we need to spend a lot of time, and I'm not going to talk anymore, I can see Cassie getting a little impatient, to open up the house that all of us can express our views, and I hope that there are many good issues expressed about what we should do, how we should go ahead, what are the stances that we must take. We cannot be neutral. We cannot be neutral. Neutral is being complicit. We cannot be involved in playing games. We have to boycott all Israeli stuff. We have to sever, like South Africa did. We have to be courageous. There is no option in my thinking. So I'd like to end there and open the discussion.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the time we'd like to hear from you as you reflect on the drama that we just watched and Lionel's wonderful words. We'd like to hear from you. What are your thoughts? I think all of you sitting here today, I think you are here because of your love for Palestine and the humanity and empathy we feel for the people who are suffering. I'd like to hand around this mic. Samira, are you here to help us hand the mic to audience members? Who'd like, just raise your hand please and we'll send the mic over to you. Anyone from the audience, please?
Thanks. Sure. Hi. Firstly, thanks to everybody who put this event together and all the powerful readings and performances. What I just want to pose a question to not just those on stage or the organizers, but to anybody really, because I'm sure a lot of you must be aware that especially in the south coast of Sri Lanka, I spent the last 4 or 5 years living in the south coast of Sri Lanka. I've lived in Unawatuna, in Hiriketiya, around Busa, and more recently in Ahangama. What is happening in the south coast is pretty much a tamer version of what's happening in Palestine. And this is somewhere that I feel that we can really affect change and show our solidarity with Palestinians, because, I mean, this is all alleged, but coming from very reliable sources, people that I personally know, large blocks of land is being bought up by Zionist settlers, essentially, people that are active members in the IDF that come here on holiday. They have bought up large amounts of land, especially around Ahangama, Kabalana area, and they're selling off smaller plots of this land to other Zionists, other Israelis, who are fighting with other tourists in the surf spots. The local surfers don't really have control over these spots. They have even made statements as far as soon even locals won't be able to surf here. This Kabalana belongs to the Israelis. And I know that there are other people in this room that can attest to this being true. So when this is happening in our own country, the takeover of resources, land, and the exploitation of our tourism industry in a time that Sri Lanka needs to recover from an economic crisis, I'm just looking for people that have ideas on how we can, educate people in the South Coast. I mean, everybody here, I assume, is from, we are speaking in English, so that already shows a sign of relative privilege. We're meeting in Colombo, but a lot of these business owners and land owners in the South Coast, they don't really understand the context they don't understand what's happening in Palestine. So I think it's important that collectively we come up with some sort of solution to not allow the colonization of Sri Lankan land also by these Zionist Israeli settlers.
And if I may add to what she just said, I can confirm what she said because it is happening. And the thing is, and like she quite rightly said, they are bullying some of the people, they do bully some of the locals, they do bully some of the foreigners. And there have been incidents, I myself have been involved in these people where they just come out here and say they are getting away from the war. Okay, fine, you can do that, but like live in peace. Like what we're also saying is like follow the laws, pay the taxes. All of these guys are also operating under the table, and we have spoken to many people in places of authority, and most of it is falling on deaf ears. And like she quite rightly said as well, they have been buying land for years and years and years, and what Sri Lankans don't understand is, okay, fine, you're selling your land, and then where do they go to? What happens to our national sovereignty? You know, because they're selling everything at a rate, and they are buying it at exorbitant prices, and they're reselling our plots to more Israelis, and they're coming in their numbers because I read the other day that also these dual citizenship holder, the Israeli dual citizen holders, they are sort of being sent away from those respective countries. So most of them are coming here. And also at the same time, our people are being sent to Israel, and most people don't even know that there's a war going on there. And they're just being blindly sent. So it's a lack of education. And I think we need to use local, I mean, this is just how I feel. And I think we need to use local media, like Sinhalese press, to educate people, like, look, this is what's also going on. And also don't sell your land to everybody, because at the end of the day, this is our land. I mean, we can say, I don't know how to put this, it's not like a nationalist point of view, but we need to protect our land.
Organizers for the Free Palestine Movement of Sri Lanka organizers. Anyway, I must thank the organizers who had organized this. Excellency, the ambassador and secretary already. You know that you just put a question. This is the first time I'm hearing how the Israelis are coming down south, have been buying. So it is a good news for me to put it in now one of our papers, which is the Trend newspaper. We will expose this. And I also would like to know what does the President of Sri Lanka and the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka, do they know or have they got the information about this? That's all I want. Because actually it is a very serious matter for them to come and buy the land in Sri Lanka, which they also have. I don't know whether they should, there are so many that to buy a land, you can't just come and buy. I want to know who are the people involved in this. We must know who are the people who are involved, who are getting them down south. Thank you very much for doing this.
Thank you, sir. We have Jessica here with her response to this.
I'll just step in front. Hi everyone, my name is Jessica and I live down south in Ahangama. I have a project called Indigenous Initiatives, which is a project to celebrate the indigenous farming systems of your ancestral past. And I don't live too far from Kabalana, which is where a lot of the Israelis are basically trying to set up their own little communities. We have a little group on WhatsApp, and we want to organize a protest. We want to make some noise, and we want to make it known that we stand for Palestine. We stand for humanity. And, you know, I think a lot of Sri Lankans can relate to what's happening in Gaza. So we need you guys here in Colombo to come down south and support us, because we're very outnumbered. And I think there's always a little bit of fear, but when we have the power of numbers, we can make a movement. And I think also we need to educate, we need to speak in Sinhala, we need to go walk around very incognito. I think a lot of the surfers are now in Arugambe, so this is our opportunity to make the move, you know? I think anything that's successful like that is when we do it in a very tactful way. And so if we can come together and make a plan, and then we can attack that plan and just get that forward momentum going. I think we can really make a statement here. So I love Sri Lanka, I love your country, and it's a beautiful, beautiful place. So let's do it.
Thank you very much. And now could we have, and joining us this afternoon, as some of you know, is the ambassador for Palestine, Mr. Zuhair Hamdallah Zaid. If you could share a few words with us.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace upon you all, everyone. I'm here 10 years in Sri Lanka. Some can consider me as half Sri Lankan. I consider myself as a Sri Lankan. I'm proud to be among you and with you. Always you are adding to me more and more. You are strengthening me. You are strengthening us as the Palestinians. I'm sure that you know exactly what's going on. The Olive Park story and the show that we saw all together is really reflects the exact situation that we passed and we are passing until now, 76 years of this struggle, of this suffer, of this oppression, and until now we did not find justice. We don't feel justice. To be honest, from the beginning of this genocide war, I saw Sri Lankan everywhere. I participated with them. I see the faces here, many of them in different junctions, in different places, in different parts, expressing with a strong commitment their voice in support of Palestine. You show exactly what you are. You show that you are a human. You show your moral commitment, your principles, supporting the Palestinians. We are proud of you, and in different occasions I said that your voices matter. Your voices matter, and your voice reached all the world. All came after you. What's going on in the United States nowadays, in the universities there, they stand up after you, the Sri Lankan here. What's going on in universities in Europe, the same. So really thank you very much for all your efforts, for all your initiatives. We highly appreciate this, and once again, you are giving us the strength. With your voice, you are giving us the push to continue despite all the pain that we have, despite all the atrocities that we are suffering, despite the genocide that they are practicing with us. One of what they call the super power in the world, the leader of this world. Secretary of the State saying that we ask the Israelis to reduce the number of the innocent people to be killed. They ask the Israelis to reduce the number. We don't know which number can satisfy him. As a human being, every single human is very important and his life is worth. So they should stop their atrocity. They should take action, and they can if they want to stop this war today, in this moment. They can do this. They did this before, and they can do this also today. But they are part of this, of what we are suffering as a Palestinians. They are the partner of the Israelis committing this genocide. They are sharing them with their support, what they are giving, not just in the military level, but also in the political level. The Security Council several times has the majority to take decisions, but the Americans make this fail because they vote against. And this is what's happened. And this is what will happen also in the coming meeting, when they will vote again regarding the full membership of Palestine at United Nations. Thank you, brothers, sisters. Thank you once again. We highly appreciate your support. Thank you. We love you. We respect you. We wish you all the best.
Thank you so much. And now we call upon Cassie, who would like to make a special announcement.
I'd just like to tell all of you that tomorrow at the Duncan White Auditorium, the Embassy of Palestine has organized a program, a screening of a movie about the Nakba. It's starting at 5:30 in the evening. Please try to join us there tomorrow at the race course. You all know the... Okay, the start of the movie is at 5:30. You need to be in your seats by 5:15, please. Okay. Yes, the sports ministry near the Good Market on the 4th floor, Duncan White Auditorium. Please join us there. The other announcement that I forgot to make when I was on stage was, at the end of this event, we would like to record a message from Sri Lanka to Palestine. And we are going to call all of you to join us in that statement. So please stay on till the end and be part of that very, very important message that we want to take to Palestine. Thank you.
And now we would like to call upon Mr. M.M. Zuhair, President's Counsel Mr. M.M. Zuhair, for the keynote speech.
A very good evening. Notwithstanding the dire circumstances in which
Does anyone have the other FM mic?
a very good evening to all of you. As I said, notwithstanding the dire circumstances in which Palestinians are passing every minute, every hour at this time as we speak to you. First and foremost, let me thank the Free Palestine Movement of Sri Lanka and its active organizer, Ms. Dr. Tassi Dahlan, and her committee for asking me to make some comments and observations on the Nakba, which falls tomorrow, and we are remembering it today. I would like to be brief, though I have been given a fairly lengthy time. Brief for the reason I saw a very active discussion that preceded this. Many matters and questions were raised. I think some of those issues need to be looked at dispassionately, probably by a special committee that the Free Palestine Movement can appoint in order to study and see whether the Israelis operating in the south are here lawfully or without complying with the law of the country. Basically, if you are on a visit visa, if you are on a tourist visa, you cannot run any business activity in this country. But if you are on an investment project with BOI approval, for instance, you could be doing that business and nothing else. Having said that, I just would like to mention that if you go back 100 years ago, 100 years, now we are in 2024, 100 years would be 1924. There was no Israel anywhere in the world. If you see the globe, any part of the world, you will never see a state called Israel 100 years ago. But 100 years ago, there was a state called Palestine that had a long history of several centuries of existence. Now today, what is the situation? Today, there is Israel comprising of Jews mainly from Europe and some from America who have set up a state in the middle of the Arab world, in Palestine. Now this state is one of the most powerful states armed with nuclear weapons, some say 200 nuclear hits. Nobody in the Middle East has even a single nuclear weapon to our knowledge. And this country today is on a killing spree of Palestinians and in a object of completely destroying what was Palestine other than the state in which they are living. Now take for instance the situation of Palestine today. Palestine is in the throes of death. Palestinians are in the throes of death. How could this radical change, you may call it a revolutionary change, take place within 100 years? If not for the fact that the powers that be, that were controlling the world, using their weapons, using their machinery, using all the powerful instruments that are available to them to control other parts of the world. You will remember, if you go back to the situation 100 years ago, you will find at that time, this was during the time of the First World War, 1914 to 1918, at the tail end of that war, something dramatic happened without consulting the parties who will be affected by that decision. But before coming to that, I want to just draw your remembrance that at that time, Great Britain was in control of most parts of the world, with France and other countries dominating many parts of the world. They were the leaders in control thanks to their weapons. This country at that time was deciding matters which they were not authorized to decide. The year 1917 is very significant. The British government, its cabinet, Prime Minister was at that time Wilson, decided that to establish that the British government will support the establishment of in Palestine of a state for the Jews. This decision was conveyed to the Zionist Federation in writing by the then Secretary of Foreign Affairs, you all know a famous name, Balfour. Now this guy was dealing with someone else's land, of which he had temporary control. Come back to India and Sri Lanka, they were also ruling us. Imagine that when we got independence, if we didn't get independence, and if, for instance, Sri Lanka was given over to India, that's exactly what Britain did to Palestine. They said, Palestine, you will be establishing another state. That state will be for the Jews. Now we had no problem with the Jews, because long before the British announced this, we need to remember very carefully that for centuries Palestine existed as a state where Arab Muslims, Christians and the Jews lived in peace with each other. It was basically a secular state. For centuries they lived in peace and harmony. But what happened? What was this promise that was given to the president of the Zionist Federation in writing? This land, Palestine, will be given a part of it to the word in that letter refers to the Zionist Jews. Kindly try to go into the internet and see. You will see many books written on this. They will give Zionist Jews a part of this land. They never asked the Palestinians who were living together, Christians, Jews, Muslims, whether you like to give this, you are agreeable to this, whether you are agreeable to sacrifice this. They were never asked. But it was forced on them. 6 years later, I'll be quick, 5 years later, the king, the British king, had a secret meeting, I don't know why secret, where he approved, when the British and the Allied powers met, called themselves the League of Nations, and then decided to go ahead with this Zionist project. What happened thereafter is extremely important for those who are interested in the history of Palestine. You will see from that time onwards for the next 25 years, there was a green light for any number of, organized by the Zionist Federation, to come into Palestine and settle down. They came in large numbers and they started living like what was being mentioned about how they are living in the south of Sri Lanka today. The rich among the Palestinians are supposed to have left the country, and the rest of the people had no choice but to put up with what was going on large number of Palestinians descending into Palestine, large number of Jews mainly from Europe descending into Palestine and settling down there for good. And what happens there? Friction, tension, conflict and wars. Those who have studied this, I like to mention the name of Hamid Abdul Karim. He has written books which have been published by one of our well-known journalists, Mr. Latif Farooq. In that book he says, this 25 years terrorist organizations of the Zionists launched attacks on the Palestinians who were forced to leave, and they established strong settlements that were able to withstand any opposition. And then, don't forget, the British, when they wrote that letter, they promised, we will do our utmost to give support to this promise to see that Israelis, the Jews, are settled in this country. Mind you, this is before the Holocaust. This is during World War I. And subsequent to that, until 1948, you will see in 1948, for the first time, a very strong movement of Zionists in control of Palestine. They were able to declare themselves as a state, as a country, without the consent of the people, without the plebiscite, without the self-determination, without any process of consultation. And then, in 1948, Israel was established, soon recognized by the United Nations. The United Nations itself was under the control of powerful countries. And United Nations did not have any hesitation in approving Israel as a state and giving full member status in the United Nations. But what happened to Palestine? They divided Palestine into Israel and Palestine, so-called two-state solution. At that time they did not call it two-state solution, but that's how it was. Then you will find the Palestinians for the next 65 years, while Israel was recognized as a fully fledged member of the United Nations, for the next 65 years, Palestine was not recognized as a state by the United Nations. I am saying there was complicity in this injustice, in this wrongdoing, in this imposition of a country on another country, which was done by the British, aided and abetted by other powerful countries, and by the time Israel was established, the United States of America began playing a major role in supporting and sustaining Israel with powerful weapons to defend themselves. The argument was that their security had to be protected. If the UN took 65 years until 2012, in 2012 also they did not give membership. They only gave observer status. I am sure your Excellency knows all this history. You all know most of them. In 2012, that is how many years ago? 12 years ago, the UN gave observer status, while while Israel had full membership, with all the rights and privileges. Even though the general membership of the United Nations was fully supportive of the Palestinians. The majority of them, over 145 countries out of the 180 at that time, was supportive of Palestinians. But the system on which the UN worked was controlled by the UN Security Council, and the Americans vetoed. Americans vetoed even last week. Last week there was an attempt to bring back, once again, to give Palestine full member status. And last week the USA vetoed that. Now the issue is something else to which I would like to quickly come before I conclude. Europe and Britain, having given birth to the existence of a terrorist state created by terrorist force, I say Israel was created through a terrorist struggle during the 31 years that followed from 1917 to 1948. There is no denying that fact. There is sufficient historical record to prove that. But we don't talk about it. We only talk about 1948 Nakba. Nakba started in 1917. It started flourishing from 1922 when the king secretly met. In 23 the population of Palestine was 80% Arab Muslims, 11% Christians, 9% Jews. In 1948, Jews became 35% and all other communities got reduced. The terrorist attack started in 2022 with the attack of Bir Yassin, which was a predominantly Christian village. And men were shot on that occasion. I don't want to remember this bitter, painful past of the horrific record of the British Empire. We expect them to change. But are they changing? Today what is Sunak trying to do? He wants killing machine to continue. He wants the innocent Palestinians to continue. Has he asked that to be stopped? Who is aiding and abetting? Joe Biden, President of the United States, criminal act of murder being aided and abetted by the United States President. I mean, shame on these people. Do they have any human, even animals don't do it. No human being can be expected to see the murder of innocent people under the guise of attacking, killing Hamas, under the guise of rescuing those who were abducted by Hamas. But they had not made any attempt to finish off Hamas, because Hamas is a good excuse for them to finish off the entire Palestine. This is what is happening. I would like to not take more of your time, but before I do conclude, I need to mention our respected father is here. He spoke before us. He had spoken for justice many times before. We have the highest respect for personalities of that nature. But you know, last year, the former Secretary of State of Trump, Mike Pompeo is his name, he said, the Bible gives the Israelis their right to live in Palestine. I'm asking you, they have misinterpreted the Bible. Bible does not say what this former Secretary of State said. With all respect to the Christian church, I know the Christian church is not supportive of that position whatsoever. There are a few evangelical personalities. And this man, the secretary, Mike Pompeo says, I am an evangelical. And I support the biblical version that this was promised by God to the Israelis, the Jews. Nothing is further from the truth. I brought this extract from a book that was written by Hamid Abdul Karim, who passed away a few years ago in the holy city of Mecca. Before that, I'll just read what Yahoo quoted. Pompeo says, Israel has biblical claim to Palestine and is not an occupying nation. 5 years ago, in his book, Let There Be Justice, Hamid al-Karim refused this. He is quoting the Bible. I am going to read that and conclude with that. He says in the Bible, in reply to an article that was written by Dr. Silva in one of the local newspapers, he says, with all respect to the writer, he is entitled to his view. But he says, this doctor in his article titled The Israeli-Palestinian Conflict, Some Random Thoughts, quotes the Bible in support of Israel. The one that this gentleman cites is often quoted by Jewish and Christian Zionists or evangelical Christians to support the colonial conquest of Palestine by Europeans. This so-called promise to the prophet Abraham, peace be upon him, is found in the book of Genesis. He is quoting from that. The particular verse is found in Genesis 17:8, which says, And I will give unto thee, meaning Abraham, and thy seed, meaning thy children, after thee, the land wherein thou art a stranger, all the land of Canaan, Palestine, for an everlasting possession, and I will be their God. This is quoted from Genesis. Hamid Abdul Karim continues. He says, assuming the argument, for argument's sake, that God did indeed promise the land to the Jews, one must carefully read the words that are enshrined in that particular verse in Genesis. It says, he is repeating, the promise is made to Abraham and his seed after him. That means Abraham is a prophet. We believe, all of us believe in that prophet, and his children after him. This is important. Please note very carefully the next sentence. The seed includes the Arabs also, because they are the children of Ismail. You have no basis to say this was only for the Jews. The children of Abraham includes the children of Ismail, and therefore, and they are Arabs. You have the Jews and you have the Arabs flowing from one. So there is no question of arguing that this is only for the Jews. This argument has been very clearly countered by Hamid Abdul Karim. I am not going to take any more of your valuable time. I must thank the organizer, the Free Palestine movement, for asking me also to join in expressing our thoughts on this. We are for a secular, united Palestine where all the people could live as they lived before. Not for one ethnic race, not for an ethnic entity by alone. And that has caused immense suffering to the world, because that same theory is being imposed worldwide, everywhere, radicalizing people everywhere. I thank you once again and conclude my speech. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that. And now we will take a quick 10-minute break, and after that we have the children's play. But as you can see, it's raining, so nobody can go out, so you might as well stay in. Thank you very much. And if there's anybody who has not had any refreshments, you can make your way to the back. There are some refreshments for you. So please come back in 10 minutes because we have a few more items that we would like to finish.
Thank you so much for making my dream come true, to listen to Leader Palestine. Thank you so much, children. That was excellent. How long did you practice for? 10 minutes? 15 minutes? Isn't that amazing? 5 minutes? Some of you just joined now. Thank you so much for the enthusiasm. Thank you so much. Our next performer from the Children's Gallery, we have Juwaria. We now have Juwaria, who has written some awesome poetry that she would like to share with you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I am Vera Sadiq, and I have written a poem dedicated to Palestine. How will the world be? Is it going to be colorful? Will there be plenty of fishes in the sea? Will there be birds chirping and flying around, surrounding all the fruitful greenery? How will after I come out peacefully? How will my mom and dad be? Will they carry me and smile and kiss me immediately? Will my mom feed me with a ladle and sing me lullaby? Will my dad drop the cradle and tuck me when I cry? Will my siblings clutch on my hands and try to make me smile, then run around and drop something and later tell mom a lie? These were every baby's dreams. But what instead did they hear? Every hour filled with screams, rather than witnessing a happy birth here. Some babies separated from their families, and some infants were not even named. Young children were shot casually, not even the tiny socks were saved. I'm going to become a football star and score so many goals, while watching the crowds cheer and all my family happy soon. And then show my mom and dad all my awesome football trips and make them eternally glad to brag about all my skills. These were every young boy's dreams, but all his hopes were washed away, and boys like him expired every day, harmed and indulged but all over their body. They didn't even have time to speak about their vision to anybody. Dads searching for their family under the ruins, while sobbing and crying sadly, and sometimes only finding the remains. Moms struggling to feed their child, while sacrificing themselves to hunger, confidently writing the names and the limbs of their child so that they can identify whose part is it to cover. Doctors weeping and serving others, while their own members are dying. They don't have time to grieve for their brothers due to all the lives they have undermined. Why this attack? They don't deserve it. They held long back and are getting killed for it? All this genocide, all these gunshots, all these bombings, and all this imperialism. And what does the world do? Just sit and watch this too, skipping and scrolling, thinking it's boring. This is not a TV show. It is happening live. It is not a video game. It's a real life crime. Remember one thing. You will surely be questioned on what you did while all this was happening.
Thank you so much, Julia. I'd like to now call upon Zihan and Ikra, who have prepared a song for us today. Thank you so much. We now have Iman Karimi. You can come and sit up.
You stay there, I will get to open my hand.
Whilst they are setting up, we would like to announce that we will also have an open mic session shortly. And if there's anybody who would like to share anything, be it a song, poem, or a few thoughts, if you could just line up over here on the left. Please understand we have very limited time, so we cannot accommodate all of you. And you can only allocate about maximum 2 minutes per person, so if you can keep it short, would be amazing, so that we can give many people opportunities to share a few thoughts.
MashaAllah, this drawing is so beautiful, Dania. I got what is this little one? Oh my God, they're so cute. I can't wait to put them on to the baby. I'm so excited for my baby to arrive. It's going to be the best day ever. Probably soon. She said she may get her college application with us today. I'm praying that she will accept to Alaska. It's going to be like a dream come true, inshallah. I know my mom will get in. She's working so hard. I did it! I did it! I'm going to be a journalist. I'll be writing and sharing the stories of Palestine or something like that. So happy! You did it, Iman. I'm so proud of you. Oh my God, we should celebrate tonight. Iman, how about you come to Nakba after dinner on special occasion? That sounds perfect, Hannah. I love that. Auntie, I saw you with the so happy to where I Isn't Auntie Aisha the one who was the one talking about? She was our aunt, but she and her family were shot dead by the Israelis. I think I have a picture of her in the album. Now, will you give it to me? However, that is tough. They were my parents, and these are my aunties and uncles. But you and Aunt Salma live with them and the rest of the family members, then how did you do that? On a chaotic day, when the people are small. Good as few, taking away all the lives of
very, very long time ago. afternoon. This is Diana reporting from Gaza, Palestine. The situation here is dire, and it is essential to convey the gravity of the current circumstances. The recent bombings by Israeli forces have left devastating consequences on the lives of the Palestinian citizens. Excuse me? Dr. Hacker? I'm Diana. I know this is a busy time, but do you mind sharing your thoughts or opinions on this catastrophe?
I mean, this is a disaster. I was there and at night looking after patients, not knowing if my family's doing alright. And there's so many such small children and pregnant mothers that die here. I can't bear it. I just can't.
So much for everything you're doing. What about electricity? How has the lack of electricity impacted the medical services in this area, especially for the sick and injured?
The lack of electricity is unacceptable. It's putting the lives of our patients at risk every single day. We deserve better, and we need at least a bit of access to electricity. Innocent lives of our loved ones depend on it, and we are not going to stay silent about this injustice any longer.
Excuse me? I've been documenting the lives of people here. Your courage is inspiring. It's like unimaginable pain you've been through. Is there anything you'd like to share with the world?
Please, let the world know our suffering. We are not just statistics. We're families, all of us, lives shattered and lives forever changed. We need their support, their prayer, and their action to end this cycle of violence.
I promise your voices will be heard. This was a girl who lost her aunt and sister due to the bombing. Is there anything you'd like to say to her?
This is from Gaza, where the Zionists just bombed that town, filled with unarmed men, women, and children. And there will be no survivors. If you think for 1 second that these Zionists won't ever treat us fairly, you are lying to yourself. Because we know who they are and what they do. This is what they do. And we will not be silent. I have a message for you, Israel. You can torture us, bomb us, or even burn our land to the ground. But do you see that? The fire is catching. And if we burn, you burn with us. And tell them that our voices won't be silent. Our voices will echo across the world. Please, for peace, justice, and an existential violence. We deserve to live peacefully. And then up, chin, and then with between places. No place for existence. Why not? Why no? Why not? Why no?
That was amazing. Thank you very much. And up next, we have the Imam Academy's Shattered Dreams and Broken Spirits. So whilst we wait for them to get ready, I would like to once again sorry, made a mistake there. That was the Imam Academy's Shattered Dreams and Broken Spirits. And up next, we have And up next we have poetry reading by Imad and friends. Apologies for that earlier. And as I mentioned earlier on in the afternoon, please do share the content on your social media, on your Facebook, on your Instagram, on whatever other apps that you're using. We need to populate the internet as much as possible and geotag Sri Lanka so that Nita as well as everyone else knows that Sri Lanka stands in solidarity with Palestine and also make your post public from whatever accounts you are using so that they know that we are against what's happening and that we stand with the people of Gaza. Over to you now.
Assalamu alaikum. Can we turn the microphone up a little? So for anyone who enjoys the poetry that's being read today, this is a compilation I put together of poems written by poets from Palestine, translated from Arabic into English, as well as poems written by Palestinians in exile. Copies of this were distributed at the Embassy of Palestine some months ago, and if anyone would like to contribute to make more copies and distribute it, if you believe that poetry can be a way to inspire people's empathy and spread this message, then please come speak to me and we can make that happen. Before I begin, I'd like to thank the Palestine movement for putting this together. Can we have a round of applause for the organizers? This first poem is translated by Fadi Joda. It was written in July 13, 2021 by Sheikha Leda. Nakba. My mother is 3 years younger than the Nakba, but she doesn't believe in great powers. Twice a day she brings God down from his throne, then reconciles with him through the meditation of the best recorded Quranic recitations. And she can't bear meek women. She never once mentioned Nakba. Had Nakba been her neighbor, my mom would have shamelessly chided her. I'm sick of the clothes on my back. And had Nakba been her older sister, she would have courted her with a dish of kubeze. But if her sister whined too much, my mom would tell her, enough, you're boring holes in my brain, maybe we shouldn't visit for a while. And had Nakba been an old friend, my mum would tolerate her idiocy until she died, then imprison her in a young picture up on the wall of the departed. A kind of cleansing ritual before she'd sit to watch dubbed Turkish soap operas. And had Nakba been an elderly Jewish woman that my mum had to care for on Sabbath, my mum would teasingly tell her in cute Hebrew, "You hussy, you still got a feel for it, don't you?" And had Nakba been younger than my mum, she'd spit in her face and say, "Rein in your kids, get them inside, you drifter." This next poem was translated by Atif Al-Shair. The poem is written by Yahya Ashur, Gaza Under Siege. At one time we think we are in a boat and the entire world around us is fish. And at another we see we are but a jungle and the entire world around us a sniper. So this next poem is translated again by Fadi Joda. This one was written June 17, 2021, Hosam Mauru. Hand of War. We hold war's hand, not so that it walks among us, but it is death. A bit tardy, we cajole it. We hold war's hand, convinced that this is the last time it waves catastrophe to us, since the road is a futile wall, and the country is searching for a photograph of collective sorrow. Next, I'd like to invite one of my friends to read one of her own poems. Shivani, if you could join us.
Hi everyone. The name of this poem is Acronym. Acronym. I love this word. I love how it sounds when you say it out loud, even when you say it in your head. How you trip over the kr, but it gives you the momentum to end softly with the nim. Yes, clearly I have been thinking about this word. Acronyms. An abbreviation formed from other words used as a word in itself. Why do we need them? For a set of words that we would use often. Often enough that they would become cumbersome, wrangling all those syllables over and over again. Acronyms make our life easier, avoid confusion, avoid misinterpretation. LOL we type, completely straight-faced. Zip code for our never-ending online deliveries. FOMO for experiences that we wanted to be a part of. These sets of words are fairly easy to say, but the acronyms make them even more convenient. Describing a life lived with ease, comfort, companionship, desire, laughter. There's one acronym that has been stuck in my head, in my heart, for a few months now. This one isn't easy to say. Not the set of words and not the acronym itself. And you know what? I am glad. I am glad that this acronym is not easy. I am glad that it takes some effort. That it doesn't just flow off the tongue, that it doesn't just create a speakable word, because this should not be a speakable word, not in any language.
This acronym requires you to think, to put the letters in the right places, to pause and bring the whole set of words to mind before you know which letter goes where. This acronym takes something out of you, and it should. It is the very least we can do, to take a little bit of effort to be able to say WCNSF, wounded child, no surviving family. Thank you.
Okay. So the next poem I'm going to read is by a poet in exile, Bima Shahabi, titled Migrant Earth. She begins by quoting Mahmoud Darwish, where he says, "So, tell me what you think of when the sky is ashen." And she responds, "I could tell you that listening is made for the ashen sky, and instead of the muezzin's voice which lingers like weeping at dawn, I hear my own desire as I lay my lips against my mother's cheek. I kneel down beside her, recalling her pleas, the day she flung open the gates of her house for children fleeing from tanks. My mother is from Gaza, but what do I know of the migrant earth as I enter a Gazan rooftop and perform ablutions in the ashen forehead of sky as my soul journeys and wrinkles with homeland. I could tell you that I parted with my mother at the country of skin. In the dream, my lips were bruised. Her body was whole again, and we danced naked in the street. And no child understands absence past the softness of palms, as though it is praise in my father's palms as he washes my mother's body in the final ritual. As though it is God's pulse, as though it is Allah's pulse that comes across her face and disappears." Thank you. Next, I'd like to invite Khadija, who will be reading one of her poems as well.
So this isn't my poem. This is by Mossab Abu Toha. It's called Things You May Find Hidden in My Ear. When you open my ear, touch it gently. My mother's voice lingers somewhere inside. Her voice is the echo that helps recover my equilibrium when I feel dizzy during my attentiveness. You may encounter songs in Arabic, poems in English I recite to myself, or a song I chant to the chirping birds in our backyard. When you stitch the cut, don't forget to pull all these back in my ear. Put them back in order as you would do with books on your shelf. The drone's buzzing sound, the roar of an F-16, the screams of bombs falling on houses, on fields and on bodies, of rockets flying away, rid my small ear canal of them all. Spray the perfume of your smiles on the incision. Inject the song of life into my veins to wake me up. Gently beat the drums so my mind may dance with yours. My doctor, day and night. Thank you.
Sakina. Yes, next I would like to invite Sakina to read for us.
Hello everybody. So the first poem I will be reading two. The first poem is about a child and the emotions of the child in the midst of the whole genocide. It's called Be My Friend, My Fear. Come here, my friend. Let me embrace you. With a traumatized heart and a trembling, exhausted arms. After all, you are all I have. A place I called home is now shattered. My family is no more. My motherland is in ruins. All that I feared is already a reality. My fear, you are all I have, because I have nothing more to fear of, except for my life. Will you become my good friend, so you would no longer hurt me? These explosive sounds will no longer make me shudder. The smoky skies would no longer haunt me. Starvation will no longer torture me. The thought of death will no longer give me goosebumps. My fear, I no longer want to fear you. The second poem, it's a little bit of sarcasm for how the superpowers are so conveniently ignoring the situation right now. So it's called, it's petrol, not blood, help. I wonder, if it was petrol instead of blood flowing, would the superpower still not intervene? Still keep using its veto power instead of stopping the petrol shed? But who cares about bloodshed? I wonder if it was cans and Bowsers of fuel being blown up instead of bodies and limbs that fly in different directions. Would the greedy nations still watch on while the petrol bursts and spills? Because who cares about lives? It's petrol the world needs to survive. I wonder and wonder. Is a tank of petrol really more valuable than a human life? In this poor generated world, are we really watching lives being blown up on our screens and blood being poured out onto the land of Palestine, land of Gaza, land of Rafah, while not a drop of petrol gets wasted anywhere in the world? Shame. What a shame. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sakina. To end this poetry reading, I'd like to invite one of my older friends, Misha. Thank you everyone for your opening your hearts to these words. Thank you everyone for gathering here today. Thank you again for having us here.
Yeah, but then you need to decide which you want to have an impact on, the video. No, so basically, if you can look on stage, you get the thought from down and do the video, then I'm going to come on stage, it will take some time. Message to Palestine. Yeah, we're going to try it.
How big is Israel?
I heard it.
How big is Israel? How big is Israel? I say, it's as big as you want it to be. Everyone knows the square meters of encroachment, but I didn't know it takes, give or take, 50 years to erase from search history in this Google ad revenue existence. So maybe Israel is 50 years big. Not even as old as its president, you'd think. But no, Israel is bigger than that. I say it's as big as you want it to be. I say Israel is nothing like you can fathom. The cold, dark apathy of human nature, in poetic irony, it arrives in silence. Israel is ignorance. Israel is the cereal, the Coca-Cola, cartoon comedy lifestyle we've all loved and grown with. Israel is the poster child of self-confidence, sex appeal, satisfaction. Israel is being binged on at every weekend getaway. Israel is the getaway. Israel is the destination to get to. Israel is being munched on, called your favorite. Habits are too hard to change as it is. There are things that are just too good to part ways with. Israel is what you want on your feet. It's good for your feet. It's the best quality in the market. It makes you feel rich even if you have to sell your soul to maintain it. See, this discourse is not to make anyone feel guilty. I'm just telling you whatever you think Israel is bigger than that. I say Israel is as big as you want it to be. The New World Order. New World Order. New World Order. They bring a new world order. Azrael, aptly named the angel of death. So we pretend we cannot see. We pretend we cannot see. Oh, we pretend we cannot see, yet it remains present right under our noses. They've encroached the whole world while we're looking at Palestine. We all say free Gaza, but we sit here stuck in Israel. And that's how big Israel is. But no, wait. I say Israel is bigger than that. I say it's as big as you want it to be. I say we are what Israel wanted us to be. A generation of cowards. The generation of self-centered yet validation-obsessed cowards. I say that we are the sole heirs to this information obesity, dopamine dependency, split-second attention deficiency, exhausted generation, overworked, exhausted generation, underpaid generation. I can't pay charity because I'm too broke, but let me light this up and think about the Palestine generation. Let me write this peace generation, this sick piece of poetry generation. All my problems are too heavy to bear generation. This internet cross-section is too heavy to bear generation. Sisyphus friendly generation, all accepting generation, soft and placid generation, wet blanket generation, Israel's fertile ground for pester generation. I keep saying Israel is as big as you want it to be. Israel is nothing like you can fathom. You can cook up your conspiracies of how deep this rabbit hole goes for 50 more years and still not find the end. And later, much later, you explain to your grandchildren there was once a country called Palestine with a war-ridden history, the birthplace of something beautiful, something spiritual and equally inhumane. But that's too long a story for you to narrate. It's not even yours anymore. You've forgotten a lot of the details and what all of this was even important for. Maybe in that moment, while you explain to your grandchildren, you might realize how big Israel is. Maybe you'll meet Azrael yourself at the end of it all and applaud at his subtlety, even though he was not at all subtle. But then it might be too late. It will always be too late, my brothers and sisters. They've already started bombing the kids. Thank you.
Or you want him to go on stage?
Sorry for such a dark poem. This is the one I wrote to bring to you guys today. I have another piece that I want to read. I generally try to avoid giving context to my pieces, but I just want to give a little bit of a story about this. The title of the poem is called A Love Poem for Palestine from Sri Lanka's Bastard Son. Why is this from Sri Lanka's Bastard Son? Is because me, myself, my name is Vishal. I was born and brought up in UAE. I lived there for 19 years. I've been around a lot of Arab people and, really observed their culture a lot, and I love it. I love a lot of it. It reminds me of home in some sense. And also, because I grew up there, my signal is not so good. So when I came back here, I was like lost. I was not here, I was not there. Because, sometimes that happens to immigrant children. And also, I've had the unfortunate experience of not growing up with my father, so I think that's why this poem comes from a place of pain for me, where I understand also how it must feel like, even if it's like a minuscule portion of what it feels like to the people of Palestine. This poem was really triggered by two people. There's this Instagram channel of a chef who makes Palestinian food. His name is Chef JJ's Kitchen. That's his Instagram handle. And I actually reached out to him saying that, it's such a cool thing he's doing. Like a lot of these Palestinian people right now, they've been making content that's like, because the algorithms on like social media, they really respond to positivity. So they're really like spreading that positivity, and I thought that was like an amazing sort of thing that they were doing. And there's also this little girl who was making makluba. I think you need either cream cheese or whipped cream or something for makluba. And she was making it out of semolina and flour as like a alternate, because they didn't have those commodities, those luxuries at their camps. So this poem is actually dedicated to them. A love poem for Palestine from Sri Lanka's Bastard Son. I see your love. I see you and your children, and I feel so deeply for it. Surely pain brings people together. Not that I know of what sort of pain you suffer, what sort of terror you experience. I know what it feels like to be a child being dragged out of your home in the middle of the night, never to return to it again, constantly searching for it, and then growing up forgetting what the feeling of home is. And I don't know what it feels like for my parents to die in front of me, see their dead corpses covered in concrete dust and blood. I don't know. I don't know what it feels like for my friends to never laugh again in this reality. The echoes of that familiar sound haunting me for the rest of my existence. Surely pain brings people together. But still, I am still so far away from you. Rooted in suffering in my own hell, still I am aching alone. But when I see you, Palestine, when I see your smile, when I see your poise and your grace in the face of calamity, I feel so deeply for it. When I'm tired, when I'm overwhelmed by emotion, I think of you. When I think home is a distant memory, unattainable, I remember your smile. Sweet Palestine. Your resilience gives me resilience. Your courage gives me a voice. When I'm lost, I look for you, because no one can be as misplaced and still feel grounded when all ground below shatters. And when I'm lost, I pray that I can open my heart wide enough to reach you across these oceans, these lands of differences, these nuances, these mechanisms, these statistics, this ignorance. I pray to be near to your soul, from temple to temple, fingers entwined. Surely pain brings people together, and mine is in love with your strength. As my soul still searches for yours, may we find our home. May we build it out of love and share it with everyone. May we be patient with those that sin, for they cannot see what they do. But I see you, and I will be with you in your suffering, inshallah. Thank you so much. Thank you everybody for coming in this. Thank you, Martin.
Alright, I think we are now ready. So if I could have all of the readers to please turn and face Chiranta, who is on stage. If you can turn and face Chiranta. Because I want the audience in the background. So we're all part of this message.
We, the people of Sri Lanka,
and in solidarity with the people of Gaza, and decry the ongoing humanitarian crisis that has unfolded in the region,
condemn in the strongest terms the systematic targeting of civilians, especially women and children, in flagrant violation of human rights and international law.
Vehemently denounce the blockade and siege imposed on Gaza, which grievously deprives its people of access to basic necessities.
call upon all nations, governments and organizations to take immediate and concerted action to end violence and alleviate the suffering of Gaza.
Urge the government of Sri Lanka to sever all diplomatic, economic and commercial ties with Israel.
Demand accountability for all perpetrators of violence, human rights abuses and war crimes.
Reaffirm our commitment to supporting Palestinian aspirations for freedom, equality and justice.
The time for silence and interaction is over.
ශ්‍රී ලාංකිකයන් වන අපි ගාසා තීරයේ ජනතාව සමග සහෝදරත්වයෙන් සිට ගනිමින් එහි සිදුවෙමින් තිබෙන අමානුෂික සිදුවේ දැඩි ලෙස හෙලා දකිමු.
මානව හිමිකම් සහ ජාත්‍යන්තර සම්මුති අමුඅමුවේ උල්ලංඝනය කරමින් සිවිල් වැසියන් විශේෂයෙන්ම කාන්තාවන් සහ ළමුන් ක්‍රමානුකූලව ඉලක්ක කිරීම දැඩි ලෙස හෙලා දකිමු.
ගාසා තීරයේ ජනතාව මූලික අවශ්‍යතා සඳහා ඇති ප්‍රවේශය බරපතල ලෙස අහිමි කරමින් පනවා ඇති සම්බාධක සහ වැටලීම දැඩි ලෙස හෙලා දකිමු.
ගාසා තීරයේ ප්‍රචණ්ඩත්වය අවසන් කිරීමට සහ එම ජනයාගේ දුක් වේදනා සමනය කිරීමට වහාම ඒකාබද්ධ ක්‍රියාමාර්ග ගන්නා ලෙස සියලුම ජාතීන්ගෙන් රටවලින් සහ සංවිධානවලින් ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා.
இலங்கையராகிய நாம் காசா மக்களுடன்
ඊශ්‍රායලය සමග ඇති සියලුම රාජ්‍යතාන්ත්‍රික, ආර්ථික සහ වාණිජ සම්බන්ධතා නවතා දමන ලෙස ශ්‍රී ලංකා රජය ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා.
නිදහස, සමානාත්මතාව සහ යුක්තිය සඳහා පලස්තීන අභිලාෂයන් වෙනුවෙන් සහාය දැක්වීමට කැපවන බව නැවත නැවතත් තහවුරු කරනවා. ප්‍රචණ්ඩත්වයන් මානව හිමිකම් උල්ලංඝනය කරමින් සහ යුද අපරාධ සිදු කරන සියලුම අපරාධ සම්බන්ධයෙන් වගවීම ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා. නිශ්ශබ්දතාවයේ සහ නිෂ්ක්‍රියතාවයේ කාලය අවසන්.
இலங்கையராகிய நாம் காசா மக்களுடன் ஒன்றிணைந்து தற்போது இடம்பெறும் மனித உரிமை அவலங்களை வெகுவாக கண்டிக்கிறோம்.
திட்டமிடப்பட்ட நிலையில் அப்பாவிகளான குழந்தைகள் மற்றும் பெண்கள் குறிவைத்து காசாவில் மேற்கொள்ளப்படும் காட்டுமிராண்டித்தனமான வன்முறைகளை மிக வன்மையாக கண்டிக்கிறோம். காசா மக்கள் தமது அடிப்படை தேவைகளை பெறுவதை தடுக்கும் விதத்தில் மேற்கொள்ளப்படும் முற்றுகை மற்றும் தடைகள் என்பவை அம்மக்களின் அடிப்படை உரிமைகளை பெரிதும் பாதிக்கின்றது. இதனை நாம் மிகவும் வன்மையாக கண்டிக்கின்றோம்.
இதன் காரணமாக இஸ்ரேலில் உள்ள அனைத்து ராஜேந்திர உறவுகளையும் துணுக்குமாறு சக நாடுகளின் அரசாங்கங்களையும் நாம் கேட்டுக்கொள்கிறோம்.
இலங்கை அரசை இஸ்ரேலுடனான வர்த்தக மற்றும் இராஜதந்திர உறவுகளை துண்டிக்குமாறு கேட்டுக்கொள்கிறோம்.
வன்முறைகள், மனித உரிமை மீறல்கள், போர் குற்றங்களில் ஈடுபடும் அனைத்து குற்றவாளிகளும் பொறுப்பேற்றுக் கொள்ள வேண்டியவர்களாகின்றனர். பலஸ்தீனர்களின் சுதந்திரம், சமத்துவம் மற்றும் அரசியல் அபிலாஷைகளை நிறைவேற்ற எமது ஆதரவை தெரிவிப்பதோடு இவ்விடயத்தில் எமது உறுதிப்பாட்டை மீண்டும் வலியுறுத்துகின்றோம்.
செயலற்ற மௌனமாக இருக்கும் காலம் முடிவுக்கு வந்துவிட்டதையும் நாம் உறுதிப்படுத்துகிறோம்.
Thank you so much for being a part of that wonderful message that we're going to send to Palestine. Okay, and now to entertain us, we have some visitors all the way from Colombo who call themselves Janodhanaya.
Whose is this?
Good evening, friends. We are from Janodhanaya. One of the girls who spoke at the open discussion said that the message of this genocide and killings of our friends and brothers in Palestine should be taken to the village of this country. Yes, we are coming from a fishing village, so the people in our area do not know that much about what is going on in Palestine. So if we are really want to mobilize the support for the freedom and liberation of Palestinians, we have to go to the grassroots level. So we are from the grassroots and we need your support to take the message of our brothers and sisters to this area. So with that intention, our team, Janodhanaya, wrote a song and also composed music, and we have sung this song in 3 places. Actually, first we sang it here about a year ago, and we have a team. Unfortunately, because of heavy rain, our friends cannot come here. So 2 of us, these 2 people, we are trying to perform this on your behalf. This is about the 10 commandments. The Israelis boast about the 10 commandments, and they say that they are obeying to the 10 commandments, but they are not. So we are challenging that you are not with the words of Lord. So they are killing people, they are stealing. So this is about this song. Okay, written by my friend Ajit Hedley and music composed by me. Let's see how it goes. Parangkuda mate oliu dalla. Thou cannot feel this city, but this still ending. Darkness of night falling away, rain falls no rain. We shall be seen and fully with the past on the clouds. Wala kuling rasi Sion ida ay Beumuri Sisara doka Itu dikeliati Disatukan Iteruni Mahahanin nubat Gigiruwe Kima Panak dasayaku Ikirie Biada kopeda Tukada bihirada Biada kini kula Siyodaye Musa paturati daham bulledida panak dasayaki andak noyasena devina kandurati ruduru gini dena avi madin etina disweda parituda mate oliu dalla. Thou cannot climb this thing, not delight every day. In good commandments on Zion, it will roll like a lion. We shall be see and only be amidst the fires and the doubts speak. Tuhan kalindasi, wala kulindasi, Sion dinai deulule. Sisara tupa itu dikeliati, disadukan diteruni. Mahahanin nubat dituruwe kima, panak dahasyaku ikirie. Biada kopeda tukada bihirada Gianu giri kula Sionaye. Thank you very much, friends. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan, for that wonderful performance. And we have two more events before we wrap up for the night. And once again, we'd like to say thank you for everyone who's stayed on and showed your support for us. And also, before we continue, we would like to announce we found 1,000 rupees. Somebody may have dropped 1,000 rupees. It's folded up into a little square. And if there's nobody who's going to claim it, it'll go into charity. So, yeah, 1,000 rupees. Just check your pockets. It is found on the left side. my left side. So yeah. Oh, do we have somebody? No. Yeah, so the instead of take this 1,000 rupees will go to charity. All of you guys are my witnesses. And up next we have a musical tribute by Mr. Iqbal Mohammed. Can we have Mr. Iqbal Mohammed up on stage? So whilst we wait for 10 minutes while Mr. Iqbal sets himself up, I would like to once again repeat, please post on your social media like whatever things that inspire you from today's events, and make sure your Facebook posts are public, and make sure you geotag Sri Lanka so that Meeta knows where the content is coming from. It's really important that we populate the internet as much as possible, that we are against what's going on in the world right now, that we are against this genocide, and that we stand with the people of Gaza.
These days, you know, the news that you get, what you see and you experience is of course challenging life. Whether it's worth living like this, helpless, and watching you dying. So at the moment, I thought the best thing for us is to speak about what is happening around and have a collective mindset to unite ourselves, because what's happening in Gaza is not an isolated event. It is today we are celebrating the Nakba. I think we have to look back what's happening, what happened to Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka had its Nakba when it was in 1815. When the Britishers took over Sri Lanka, they cheated us through the Candian Convention. They divided the society. In 1818, the Uva Vellasa people revolted against the Britishers. They massacred the revolters, the rebellion. 40,000 Sri Lankans were killed. The person who led it, the people who led it were all hanged and beheaded. One was Monarovila Kapitipola. So, what we are passing through is what the British have given us. We are a divided society. We are a deeply divided society. From childhood we are divided. Are we Sri Lankans? No. We are happily putting our children and sending them abroad. Go out, go out. That is the way that Sri Lankan people think now. Why? Because we have lost our independence. We have not won. When from Palestine, what we can see is that they are fighting for survival, they are fighting for justice, not only for them, for us. I don't expect Palestinians to resist the Israeli aggression, because they can't. But we, as human beings, have a right and we have a conscience to speak for them. So at this wonderful day of Nakba, when we are uniting, we also have to think about ourselves. Because recently I read one article from the Indian Foreign Minister, Jaishankar. He said, what you are seeing in the world today is just the trailer.
bigger picture is yet to come. Definitely bigger picture is yet to come. So be ready. So we have to think and unite. My song is very simple. Satutta kotanada me polo tale. Polowak bida pala indana hadawataka ඇති. සතුට කොතනද මේ විසල් ලොවේ පෙමක බැඳුන දරුවන් දෙන දෙමාපියන් හදේ මොනරවිල නමේ සිරිය අද දැනේ මව්බිමහට දිවි පිදුමද සතුට කී පුතේ පලස්තීනයේ ගාසා තීරේ කඳුළු සලන ජනතාවට පිහිටවන් පුතේ
The next song is a song that was done for the Palestine Flag Day. This will be sung in Sinhala and Tamil. Let's listen to it.
கண்ணீருமே பாய்க்கின்றதோ
உண்மைகளை மறைத்ததே உலகம் அறியாமலே நம் பிள்ளைகள் மேலே ஏவும் ஆயுதங்கள் களியாற்றங்களில் தான் மகிழ்ச்சி கொள்கிறோம். பார்நீதிலே குருதியும் கண்ணீருமே பாய்க்கின்றதோ விரட்டப்படும் குடும்பங்கள் இடிக்கப்படும் இல்லங்கள் பெண்ணல்லா ஆரிகள் உருவாக்குவதில் தான் மகிழ்ச்சி கொள்கிறோம். எருசலேத்தில் பாலஸ்தீனத்தில் அரபு தேசத்தில் அமைதி புறாவை தேடி ஏங்குவார் கோடி ஓவியரும் கவிஞருமே நம்பிக்கை நெஞ்சங்களில் விடுவை நோக்கி மலரும் எதிர்பார்ப்புகள் சந்தோஷம் தருமே சந்தோஷம் தருமே. சுந்தரவே ஐதனே தரம் kandulat dukat lovate horen uwanin godin taruan nasa ini keregat satu tekian Yerusalem Palestine Arabikare Sinedaki Kavien Kalaven Parvirenak Se Samay Petuman Takunin Hambain Janata Petuman Dinalu Ati Dinalu Ati. Just one more song. This is in English, please. didn't hurt the Jews. We lived in harmony. It was the Germans and Europeans hurt Jews the most. Decisions were made in London, settle the Jews in a land. Wolves, foxes and Balfours decide the land to be Palestine. I come from Gaza, land of courage. I fight for freedom, freedom to Palestine. We come from the West Bank, land of friendship. What is life worth for if it's not for freedom? They came in ships and boats, hidden were guns and bombs. Some were refugees, survivors of Holocaust. Raised our folk, robbed our land. It was the Nakba to Palestine. It was the Nakba to Palestine. I come from Gaza, land of courage. I fight for freedom, freedom to Palestine. We come from the West Bank, land of friendship. What is life worth for if it's not for freedom? Living in prison, no justice inside. Talking and vetoing, UN is a shame. Power and greed should come to an end. People around the world, raise your voice now. People around the world, demand justice now. I come from Gaza, land of courage. I fight for freedom, freedom to Palestine. We come from the West Bank, land of friendship. What is life worth for if it's not for freedom? Petersburg in Russia defeated the Nazis. Gazans of Palestine fighting Zionists. Truth will win, lies will fall. People around the world, raise your voice now. People around the world, demand justice now. I come from Gaza, land of courage. I fight for freedom, freedom to Palestine. We come from the West Bank, land of friendship. What is life worth for if it's not for freedom? What is life worth for if it's not for Palestine?
And now finally we have a speech from Mr. Anjana Sampat Amarasinghe, the Secretary to the International Secretary of Social Youth Union. applause for him, please. And once again, thank you for everyone who stayed on even the last bit. You guys are real champions. The last one standing. So over to Miss Angela.
සියලු දෙනාටම සුබ සන්ධ්‍යාවක් වේවා. අද දවසේ හවස 3 ඉඳන් වැඩසටහන් රාශියක් මෙතන පැවැත්වුණා. මම හිතන්නේ අවසානට වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒක ඉඳන් මගේ පැත්තෙන් සමාජය තරුණ සංගමයේ විදියට අපි අදහස් කීපයක් දක්වන්න නමුත් ගොඩක් දීර්ඝ කරන්න නැතුව අදහස් කීපයක් දක්වන්න මම කල්පනා කරේ. ඉතින් විශේෂම ස්තුතිවන්ත වෙනවා අපිට ආරාධනා කරාට මේ වාස්තාවට Free Palestine Movement of Sri Lanka මේ සංවිධානයට සංවිධාන ගණනාවට සමාජයේ තරුණ සංගමයේ විදිහට අපිට සතුටුයි. අද දවසේ මේ වැඩසටහන් ටික මේ ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම් එක දැක්කට පස්සේ විශාල පිරිසක් සම්බන්ධ වුණා. විශාල ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම් ප්‍රමාණයක් තිබ්බා. ඉතින් ඉතාම සතුටු වෙනවා. මොකද අපේ රටේ මේ පලස්තීනය ඉෂුව එක සම්බන්ධව වසර ගණනාවක් තිස්සේ සමාජයේ තරුණ සංගමයේ අපි වැඩ කරමින් තියෙනවා. වැඩ කරා. ඉතින් අද දවසේ මේ වගේ විශාල ප්‍රමාණයක් මේ අවස්ථාව සම්බන්ධ වෙලා කටයුතු කිරීම ගැන අපි ඉතාමත් ඇත්තටම සතුටු වෙනවා. ඉතින් මේ වැඩසටහන පදනම් වෙලා තියෙන්නේ අපි දන්නවා මැයි 15 නක්බා ඩේ එක පදනම් කරගෙන ඉතිහාසය ගත්තොත් මීට අවුරුදු 70කට කලින් මේ නක්බා ඒ මහා විනාශය මහා නැස්පැත්තිය පලස්තීනයේ ඒ පලස්තීන් වැසියන්ට තමන්ගේ භූමිය නැත්නම් තමන්ගේ රට අහිමි වීම තමයි මේ නක්බා දිනේ විදිහට අපි කතා කරන්නේ. ඉතින් මෙතන ගොඩක් කතා පැවැත්ුණා අදහස් ප්‍රකාශ වුණා. ඒ පලස්තීන නක්බා දිනේ මහා නැස්පැත්තිය කියලා අපි හඳුන්වද්දී අපිට අමතක කරන්න බෑ 1948 මැයි 15 වෙනිදා තමයි ඊශ්‍රායලය ප්‍රකාශයටපත් වුණේ UN යෝජනාවකට අනුව. ඒ වගේම පලස්තීනයේ වැසියන්ට පලස්තීන භූමිය අහිමි වුණොත් ඒ මහා විනාශය සිද්ධ වුණේ 1948-49 ඒ කාලේ. ඉතින් අපි දන්නවා ලක්ෂ 7කට වඩා ප්‍රමාණයක් පලස්තීන භූමියේ සරණාගතයන් බවටපත් වුණා. අදට පලස්තීනයේ වටා තියෙන රාජ්‍යයන් ගණනාවක අවුරුදු 76ක් තිස්සේ සරණාගතයන් විදියට පරම්පරා ගණනාවක් පරම්පරා 3ක් විතර අදට ජීවත් වෙනවා ඒ පීඩනයන් දුෂ්කරතාවයන් දරාගෙන. ඉතින් විශේෂයෙන්ම ගත්තොත් අද දවසේ වර්තමානයේ වන විට මේ පලස්තීන ප්‍රශ්නය නැත්නම් ඊශ්‍රායල් ගාසා ගැටුම සම්බන්ධ ලෝකයේ අවධානයක් දිනාගෙන තියෙනවා. විශාල අවධානයක් දිනාගෙන තියෙනවා. විශාල මැදිහත් වීම ප්‍රමාණයක් වෙමින් තියෙනවා. සමාජයේ තරුණ සංගමයේ විදිහට අපි දකින දේ තමයි මේ අවුරුදු 76කට කලින් වෙච්ච ඒ නක්බා නැස්පැත්තියම තමයි මේ නැවත වටේකින් මේ සිදුවෙමින් තියෙන්නේ. මේ නව නක්බා තත්ත්වයක් තමයි අපේ රටේ මේ පලස්තීනයේ තුල ගාසා තීරය තුල මේ සිදුවෙමින් තියෙන්නේ. අපි දන්නවා මේ වෙද්දී මෙවර මේ ගැටුමට පාදක වුණේ ඔක්තෝබර් 7 හමාස් සංවිධානයේ විසින් ඊශ්‍රායලයට එල්ල කරපු ප්‍රහාරයක්. ඒක සාධාරණීකරණය කරේ එහෙම හමාස් වලින් තමයි පටන් ගත්තේ කියලා. නමුත් රිටර්න් එකක් දෙන එක දැන් මාස 6ක් ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා. මේක සාධාරණීකරණය කරන්න පුළුවන්. 35000කට වැඩි පිරිසක් ඝාතනය වෙලා තියෙනවා. 78000ක් තුවාල වෙලා තියෙනවා. 11000ක් අතුරුදහන් වෙලා තියෙනවා. එතනින් 15000ක් විතර ළමයි මේක මේ යුද්ධයක් ගැටුමක් ඉතින් එහාට ගිහිල්ලා මේ ඡායාරූප දකිද්දි මේ වීඩියෝ දකිද්දි අපි මොනතරම් කම්පනයටපත් වෙනවද? ඒක දරා ගන්න බැරි කම්පනයක්. කාන්තාවන් 7500කට වැඩි ප්‍රමාණයක් ඝාතනය වෙලා තියෙනවා. මහා විනාශයක් වෙලා තියෙනවා. මම දැක්ක වර්ල්ඩ් බැංක් එකේ report එකක් තියෙනවා ගාසා නැවත ගොඩනගනවා නම් $1 බිලියන 18.5ක් විතර දල ඇස්තමේන්තුවක් කරලා තියෙනවා ඒ ගොඩනගන්න. ගොඩනැගිලි රෝහල් පාසල් මේ සියලු ශේෂ බිඳවත් කළා තියෙනවා. මේ අමානුෂික අධිරාජ්‍යවාදී මේ නැදිහත් වීමේ. ඉතින් අපිට දැන් පේන එක තමයි ලෝකේ විශාල වශයෙන් රටවල් වල වාමාංශික ප්‍රගතිශීලී ඒ වගේම දේශපාලන පක්ෂ විශේෂම රාජ්‍යයන් මේකට එරෙහිව නැගී සිටමින් තියෙනවා. අපි දැක්ක දකුණු අප්‍රිකාව රජයක් ජාත්‍යන්තර අපරාධ ඒ අධිකරණයට ගිහිල්ලා පැමිණිලි කරන රජයක් විදියට ඒක ඉතාම හොඳ තත්ත්වයක්. නමුත් අනිත් පැත්තෙන් අපිට පේන දේ තමයි මෙවැනි බලපෑමක් කොච්චර තිබ්බත් ඊශ්‍රායලය එක නායට අහන්න නැති නැත්නම් ගණන් ගන්න නැති ඒ ඇමරිකානු අධිරාජ්‍යවාදී ඌමනාව මත කටයුතු කරමින් ඉන්නවා තවම. ඒ ඇමරිකානු ඌමනාව මත තමයි ඊශ්‍රායල මේ අපේ භාෂාවෙන් කියන මේ නටන්නේ. මේ ලෝකේ මතය ජනමතය පසකට දාලා කටයුතු කරන්නේ ඒකත් එක්ක. ඇමරිකාව කියන්නේ එක වෙලාවක අපේ රටටත් මානවිකයන් ගැන පාඩම් කියලා දෙන්න අපු රටක්. අපේ යුද්ධය අවසන් වෙලා ඒ ගැන ලොකු සාකච්ඡාවක් තිබ්බා. දැන් කොච්චර ඇමරිකාව විසින් මේක විනාශ කරමින් තියෙනවද කිව්වොත් මේ ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදය ගැන මානව නිදහස ගැන පැත්තකට දාලා තියෙනවද කියනවා. ඒ ඔක්කොම පැත්තකට දාලා මේ පලස්තීන ගාසා තීරයේ මේ පහරන්ට ඊශ්‍රායලට උදව් කරමින් ඉන්නවා. ඔබ අපි දැක්කා මීට කලින් වසරකට ඩොලර් බිලියන් 4ක් විතර ඔවුන් ආධාර කරා, යුද ආධාර කරා මේ ඊශ්‍රායලයේ ගාසා තීරයට පලස්තීනට මේ කරන මැදිහත් වීම, මේ විනාශය. දැන් අපි දැක්ක මේ යුද්ධේ යන වෙලාවේ තවත් මුදල් පොම්ප කරමින් තියෙනවා. ඒකද අපිට හරි පැහැදිලි මේක මේ ගාසා තීරය නැත්නම් පලස්තීනයේ ඊශ්‍රායල් ගැටුමක්ටත් වඩා අධිරාජ්‍යවාදී වුමනාව මත මේ කලාපේ ඇති කරගෙන යන නැත්නම් විනාශයක්. ඒකින්ද අපි සමාජයේ තරුණ සංගමයේ විදිහට වසර ගණනාවක් තිස්සේ ඒකට මැදිහත් වීම තවත් ඉදිරියට ප්‍රබලව ඒකට මැදිහත් වෙන්න සූදානම්. ඔබලා එක්ක එකතු වෙලා මේ මැදිහත් වීම කරන්න සූදානම්. අපි ඊට ප්‍රබල ලෙස කියනවා පලස්තීනයේ විශේෂම ගාසා තීරයට දැන් අවශ්‍ය වෙන්නේ විසඳුමක්. අපි දීර්ඝව ලෙස පෙළී හිටපු දිවි රාජ්‍ය විසඳුමට two state solution එකට මේ ලෝකේ බලවතුන් මැදිහත් කරගෙන ඒකට පාර කපා ගන්න ඕන නැත්නම් ඒ විසඳුම ස්ථාපිත කර ගන්න ඕන. ඒක තමයි තියෙන දේශපාලන උත්තරය. ඊට අමතරව මේ වෙලාවේ වේගෙන් කඩිනමින් මේ ගැටුම නවත්වලා ceasefire නැත්නම් සටන් විරාමයක් ඇති කරන්න ඕන. අපි දන්නවා මේ යුද්ධය විතරක් නෙමෙයි මේකෙන් මානසික වශයෙන් ගත්තොත් ආහාර සෞඛ්‍ය අධ්‍යාපන මේ කියන මූලික අවශ්‍යතා පලස්තීන ගාසා තීරයේ ජනතාවට අහිමි කරලා තියෙනවා. ඒකට ලෝකයේ විදිහට මැදිහත් වෙන්න ඕන. සටන් විරාමය ඇති කරලා ඒකට මැදිහත් විය යුතුයි කියලා අපි යෝජනා කරනවා. ඒ වගේම මේ නාහෙට අහන්න නැති ඊශ්‍රායලයට ඇමරිකාව මැදිහත් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. අපි ඒක දන්නවා. ඔවුන්ගේ වීටෝ පවර් එක කොහොමද පාවිච්චි කරේ කියලා UN යෝජනාවලදී. නමුත් අපි හිතනවා ලෝකේ ජනතාවක් විදියට මේකට අපි මැදිහත් වෙලා ඔවුන්ව බොයිකොට් කරන්න ඕන. නැත්තම් සම්බාධක බලවන්න ඕනේ. ඒක ජනතාවට පුළුවන්. ඒක මොකක්ද සංවිධානයකින් එන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. මෙතනත් අපි දැක්කයි කියන කතා කරනවා. ඒකට අපි යෝජනා කරනවා. ඒක අපි කරමු. ලංකාවෙත් අපිට පුළුවන්. ඊශ්‍රායලයේ තියෙන ප්‍රොඩක්ෂන් ඒවා අපි භාවිතයෙන් ඉවත් වෙන එක ඒ සම්බාධක අපිට පනවන්න පුළුවන්. ඒකද අපි අවසාන වශයෙන් කියනවා මේක ඉතාමත් සතුටුයි. අපේ ලංකාවේ බොහෝ පිරිසක් මේකට එකතු වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඉතින් අපි ඉදිරියටත් ඉතාමත් ශක්තිමත්ව අපිට කරන්න පුළුවන් උපරිම දේ අපි කරමු. මොකද මේක පොඩි දෙයක් වෙන්න පුළුවන් ලෝකේ පරිමාණයෙන් ගත්තොත්. නමුත් ඒකත් එක බලයක්. අපි ලංකාවේ ඉඳන් ඇමරිකාවේ යුනිවර්සිටි ස්ටුඩන්ට්ස්ලා නැත්නම් විශ්වවිද්‍යාල ශිෂ්‍යෝ කරන මැදිහත් වීම දැකලා අපිට ධෛර්යයක් එනවා නම් ලෝකෙටත් නැත්නම් පලස්තීන නිදහස වෙනුවෙන් ඒ සටන් කරන පලස්තීනුවන්ට ශක්තියක් වෙන්න අපි මේ ලංකාවේ කරන පුංචි දෙයක් පුළුවන්. ඉතින් අපි ඔබට යෝජනා කරනවා අපි කවුරුත් එකතු වෙලා පලස්තීන නිදහස වෙනුවෙන් ඒ දීර්ඝකාලීන පෙනී හිටපු ඒ සටන අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම ජය ගන්න පුළුවන්. ඒකේ දැන් ලකුණු පෙනෙමින් තියෙනවා. අපි ඒකට මැදිහත් වෙමු. පලස්තීන නිදහස අත්පත් කරගමු. පලස්තීනයට ජය වේවා. පලස්තීන නිදහසට ජය වේවා. පලස්තීන වෙනුවෙන් ජාත්‍යන්තර සහභාගීතාවට ජය වේවා කියමින් මගේ අදහස් දැක්වීම අවසන් කරනවා. ඔබ සියලු දෙනා බොහොම ස්තුතියි.
Hello everybody. On behalf of the Pre-Palestine movement of Sri Lanka, I want to thank everybody here for coming and for staying so long. And I especially want to thank the chief organizer, the number one, who is Cassie. Cassie needs a big applause. Good night everybody. Salam alaikum.